What I find really funny is there's already votes and I haven't even played yet. Okay, we are about to find out what we're using tonight. So I will have to mute all the mics to make sure that there's no cheating going on. Now, I may or may not actually have to mute the mics depending if there's a real amp in the room. So here goes nothing, guys. Okay, and just so you do hear the amp in the room, everything is actually live. So I did that on purpose so you won't be able to go, well, I don't hear an amplifier in the room. So it is on. But did I play through what you hear in the background humming? That's the question. So I am going to minimize the wing rack thing, and we're going to check Linnell's mic and make sure she's working.
Am I working?
She is working. So I have been going back and checking the streams, guys, and I did notice that the audio section, as far as when I'm speaking, has been a little low. I have been working very diligently, trying to really get the stream to a next level, if that makes sense. I really want to do a top-notch stream for you guys. And this channel's here for honesty. And I think tonight what we want to talk about is, do you need an amplifier? And I know it's like beating a dead horse. If you all remember some of my Leo James reviews, I would put the little thing from, I forget what it was, Cartman, beating the horse. There he is, beating that dead horse. Well, I am a tube amp fanatic, just so everyone knows. I love tube amplifiers. I think the way they break up and the way they sound and the way they make me play, I play differently through a tube amplifier. Now, that being said, I also play a little differently through some modeling units. And I find myself playing sometimes more aggressive depending on the model, because you can cheat a little bit on the model, where if you have a tube amp and you're cranking them gains and you're stacking amplifiers, it can get out of control really quick. What I found with modelers, you can stack them, but then you can kind of toy with it and play with it, and you can try to get it a little more controllable, even though it sounds like it's about ready to fly out of the house, if that makes sense. So tonight, I really wanted you guys to see, can you tell, now we're doing two different things here. We have models, and we have tube, and we have solid state. So there's a little bit of everything going on here. I am learning my Line 6 Stomp, and the reason I figured it would be a good time to do this, I believe my new settings in the Stomp are good. I'm not saying they're great, but they're good. They're good enough. They're good enough to do this test to see whether or not can you guys tell a tube amp. And I get it. YouTube's compressing it. And I met someone today. This is where this is going. I sold, I need to take it off the Discord page. I sold a unit today. I sold my Express black pedal, and the gentleman had already had the red one and he wanted the black. And we had a little short conversation. I could tell he didn't want to stand out in the rain, but I really enjoyed speaking with him. And he was an amp user too, and he's now getting into these smaller pedals. And the black was okay. When you plugged it into the computer and you could get to all the settings, that's probably the cheapest little unit that you can get that has amp modeling, delays, reverbs, choruses, and all that stuff. You can plug your guitar into that, come right out of that to a powered PA speaker. There's your amplifier. I mean, $179 for those new if you don't buy them on sale. You find them on sale, they're $130, $45. The cheapest I've ever seen it is $119 open box blowout. But that's everything. You can take that little thing, if you've got a mixing board, come right out of it, right into the mixing board and into your PA. I mean, really inexpensive. And that's what he's doing with it. He's just using it, headphones directly into a PA, no amplifier. So that made me think, okay, I got the Line 6 Stomp I've been working on. We've got Linnell's little GTX back here. I had not tried to use the GTX either on the USB out or the XLR out. So I spent about an hour today tinkering around with that and figuring out how to get that to go to the wing rack. And I really wanted to do this experiment to see what you guys thought. Now, I know the Egnator we've only used a couple times on the channel. So what I tried to do is I tried to make every unit kind of have the exact same sound, if that makes sense. And what you heard, that's got quite a bit of gain in it. There's quite a bit of gain in this setting. Now, I am going to turn off the microphones again so you guys can get an idea of whether or not it's a real amp or not. Okay, I am going to look at the poll. That means I need to open the chat window. And I am going to look at this poll here.
Well, is my mic on?
Yep.
Billy said it sounds heavy. Steve said not a real amp, modeling out of the GTX, his guess. And Mikey wants to know what's on top of the rack.
What is on top of the rack? I just did something funny. That's an old school. Back when I recorded music and worked in the studio and stuff, I had a small studio in my home. And we had two ADATs, which was basically recording on a small like VHS tape. It was a beta tape. And each tape had 8 tracks. So we had 2 of those and then a TRS-8 reel-to-reel 8-track. And then I had an M1. And we did a lot of recording back in the day. But you couldn't play an 8-track, if you wanted to record something and master it, you had to master it down onto a 2-track. So basically what that unit right there is, that is a Tascam DA30. It's a mastering DAT. It's not an ADAT, it's a DAT, digital audio tape. And the tape, it's a small little tape, and it's 2 tracks. Okay, there is no left, side 1 or side 2. It plays one direction all the way. So you got a left and a right, and it records in a binary code just like ADAT did. And it was a mastering. So a lot of people would go from their multi-track out of their mixing console to a mastering deck. And that's what that was. And then you would master it, and then that would go to a recording CD player or a tape deck, and then you would mass produce off of that. Then CD mastering units became reasonably priced, and these units sold less, and people started mastering to CD because this would degrade after you played it. It's digital, so the tape could degrade quite a bit because it's reading a binary code, but it did degrade.
And Billy, Mikey, and Brad all say they're line 6 is what they're hearing.
Is what they're hearing? I'm seeing more volts for the Egnator. That's what I'm seeing.
This is what's in chat.
Yeah, I'm seeing 47% in the Egnator, the Fender GTX 100 at 200%, the Line 6 Stomp at 20%, and the rack mount Art Friedman is 13%. So let me throw a wrinkle in this, and I am going to switch amplifiers. Now, I'm not going to tell you which amplifier this is, but I set them close. I tried to get the effects close. The drive you're going to hear is going to be a little different because it's a different preamplifier, whether it's modeled or a real tube amp.
Vox and Devastator voted Egnator.
Ah, okay. Well, maybe when you hear this one, you might think this one is the Egnator. So first thing
what they voted in the poll.
Ooh, that was loud. All right, let me switch amps here. There's a lot I have to do not to give it away.
Devastator said, I say this is the rack. Brad said, yep, could be the rack.
What I just played was the rack?
Mm-hmm. And then Brad said, has sort of the Friedman tone.
I kind of... Now, guys, you all have to understand that I'm a hair player. So for me, that tone is kind of my sound. So that's... Remember when I said when I bought the Telecaster, I was like, I'm going to put different pickups in it. And I'm buying a Telecaster because I wanted that Telecaster sound. And then I said, you know what? I'm not going to change the pickups. I want that sound. I want something different. And I think we do that when we buy a completely different amp, like the Egnator or a Yamaha, or I don't care if you got a Katana. We sit there and we tinker with it until we get our sound.
Billy said Friedman.
And the whole point in going, I don't like my sound. I want to get a different amplifier. What's the first thing we do? We try to get our sound. Well, your sound was based on the amplifier you used to have. We stay in this little box, and I am 100% guilty of that, and you guys just proved it. Okay? You proved that I've got a sound that I always gravitate to. And it doesn't matter really what equipment I have. I keep tweaking and I keep trying to get that sound.
Steve said last tone sounded rackish.
Rackish. Okay, guys, I'll let the cat out of the bag. Okay. Let's look at the poll. We're going to end the poll. Well, we'll let the poll run. For people that are coming in and just checking out, well, that's kind of cheating. I'll end the poll where it is. And I just ended the poll. So the 40% of the people in the group were 100% correct. What you heard at the beginning of the stream was the Egnator. Yes. So if you voted Egnator, you are 100% correct. Now, my next question is, what was the second amplifier that we heard? You are saying it was the rack amp. Okay. Well, Mini Guitar Society. My first guitar was a Mini. That's why it's called the Mini Guitar Society.
You also have people saying Friedman.
Well, yeah, the rack is the preamp in the rack tonight is the Friedman. So I'm using the BEDLX Friedman Synergy module. So it would be the Friedman. I do not have the Sedano side of the amplifier on. So yeah, I've been using the Friedman side. The Friedman side's a little more ballsier and edgier than the Sedano, but the Sedano is much more, I guess, I don't know, it's smoother sounding, if that makes sense. And I think in between both of those is the preamplifier and the Art, which I haven't directly just used that preamplifier in probably 6 or 7 months. Ever since I really started getting into the rack mount part of the Synergy, I like the Sedano, and I really like the Friedman. And I would really like to get the new Marshall module for it. They claim that thing is stupid good. But I've got enough amplifiers, so tonight we're proving that. The second amp that you guys actually heard, and you guys are going to laugh at this one, that was the Fender GTX 100. Yeah. So two amplifiers tonight that we don't normally use. And that just goes to prove, when you're setting up your amp and you buy different amps, we have a tendency of programming and working on that tone until we get something that we like. And usually what we like is what we're used to hearing. Okay. It could be a good tone or it could be a bad tone. That's why I think it's always good to get out and play and let other musicians and play with other artists and go back and listen to the mix of when you were playing. Make sure that your sound is actually working with the bass player or the keyboard player or the bass player or the drummer and the vocalist. Playing in here, that's great. We can get a good sound. But does it get lost in the mix? And does your sound punch through the mix? So we can think we're all good. And then when we listen to a playback, when we're playing with other people, it's kind of like, I don't even hear myself. So what's the first thing? We're really bad for this. First thing we do is we turn up our volume. Everyone needs to be at the same volume so you can hear everybody. What you got to find is that little spot in the frequency that your sound can punch through the mix. Okay. And people are like, oh, he's a bass player. I'm not going to trample on him. Anything under 50 hertz, yeah, you can start trampling on your bass player. And the same thing with your bass player. He needs to roll off at the guitar tone. What I find the hardest when I'm doing sounds is playing with a keyboard player. Playing with a keyboard player, it's hard to get the keys and the guitar to separate and not turn into like soup, It's like milk and you put chocolate syrup in it and you stir it up. It just kind of blends and turns into a wash really quick with a keyboard player. So when I go out and I watch bands and they have keyboard players and I hear that keyboard punching through and I also hear that guitar rhythm punching through, I have the utmost respect, one for the band and two for the sound guy, because that is really difficult to make happen. It really is.
Mini Guitar Society said, I want to sound like Stevie Ray Eddie Von Lynch-Triani.
I don't really know what my sound is. I like the Brown sound, as they call it, the Eddie Van Halen sound. I like that. I really like the tone that George Lynch got in the first two albums of Lynch Mob. I thought that was an awesome sound. Jakey Lee's sound in Ozzy Osbourne, I thought that was a driving old school sound. I like more chorus, but he had a really good driving sound. I think, Heaven and Hell from Dio's album, whatever that guitar player is doing on that album, that is a stupid tone that he's getting. And I don't know what he's playing. I don't know the guitar he's playing. I don't know the amps. I couldn't even tell you what he was doing because I never really looked into it. I just know I like the tone. And to try to mix all that together, it's hard. I think that's why we see so many modelers now, because these modelers are getting really stupid good. They really are. So you can kind of get that Friedman sound. You can kind of get that Hiwatt sound. You can kind of get that Marshall sound. The Egnator is a unique amp. It is capable of making a really good country tone, but it's also really capable of a rock tone. It really is. That's why I asked Mike. He's one of the moderators. We don't see Mike that much anymore. He works on amplifiers. And I went to him and I said, look, man, I want an amplifier that's really good at a bunch of different things. And he recommended the Egnator to me. And I'll be honest with you, I love the amplifier. It is a really good amplifier. And it's an amplifier that a lot of people don't talk too much about. And when they do talk about it, they instantly say, well, the transformers are no good at them. And they did have problems with the transformers. You just got to kind of know what years to get. And the stream on Facebook tonight keeps popping up over top of the chat. So I don't know if we got people chatting on Facebook or not. But if you're watching on Facebook, thank you so much. We're going to start streaming on multiple platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you guys very much. I have not figured out how to get the Facebook and YouTube chat all in one. So right now we have 36 people on YouTube, and we probably only have maybe 3 or 4 watching on Facebook. I doubt it's that many. This is only our second stream on Facebook, but we're trying, guys. We want to spread the word about this channel. This is a gear chat hangout night. So if you're just tuning in, we're here to talk about gear chat, but to let them know something about the channel. Every other Thursday, we have Tech Talk, and that's where we have a professional tech. He works in a music store. All he does full time is service guitars and set up guitars for the store and customer guitars. So every other Thursday, we have Tech Talk with Brian from Shenandoah Music. And then every other Thursday, we review an instrument. Okay, it could be or a piece of gear. Could be an amplifier, could be a pedal, could be a guitar. We do mostly guitars on the channel. So that's what we do. And then every Saturday, we just come here and hang out and try to have a good time. And that's what it's about. We're also trying not to be the YouTube channel that just demos the guitar and tells you to buy it. Our reviews are known for being stupid long and stupid detailed. And we're constantly told that we do the best reviews on YouTube. And that's why the channel was started. I wanted information on a guitar. I got on YouTube, and all I saw were these guys just playing it and putting a link up and saying, man, this thing's fantastic. and they didn't really tell me about the pickups or how it was set up or how the finish on the guitar was. You know, that's why the channel was started. It was for those reasons. Wow, I think we just broke a record. We're at 47 on.
Mine says 49.
Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. You don't have to be a subscriber to chat. This channel is different. So please say hello in the chat box to the left. We want you to come in. We want you to contribute and talk guitars and tech. If you're just tuning in, you can go back to the beginning of the stream. We had a poll up and we had a real amp and a modeled amp back to back. And I wanted you all to find out whether or not you could tell the real amp, okay? And I'll let the cat out of the bag. The amp was the Egnator, and we're just here to talk honesty. And that's tonight's talk. Do you need a real amplifier in today's world? You know, I sat down with this GTX 100 today, and I'm looking at it. It has a USB out, so you can do your audio signal USB out. It also has XLR out. And what I found really unique about the XLR out, no matter where you are on your output, okay, on the amplifier, the XLR output stays the same. So you can run that directly to front of house to your mixing board, and you put this little amp up on a stand next to you. That's your amplifier on the stage so you can hear yourself. And that out feed to the board stays consistent for the sound guy. It's really nice. It's got several options. You also have that USB, so you can do a laptop for easy programming and changing. It's got a foot switch. I mean, after playing with it today, I was highly impressed at that amplifier. We only paid $500 for it. We got it on sale. Shout out to Shenandoah Music for that deal. Linnell got it, and I heard a lot of people say the amp sucks. I think the amp is good. You just got to tinker with it and get the sound out of the amplifier. The more you play with it, just like the Line 6 Stomp, I was having problems. What effect do you put in front of what effect, and what do you need to tweak it? This amplifier is no different. You just got to get in there and start moving the effects around in the chain, figuring out how much gain certain models can take, and playing with it. You can get this new equipment is really good. I mean, that's the whole amp for $500 with a foot pedal. So if you're in one of those bands that you're also playing smaller places and then you're also playing bigger places, that'd be a fantastic amp. It's loud. You know, it's a 100-watt amp. Is it a 100-watt tube amp? No. Is it as loud as my 50-watt rack amp? Probably not, but it's close. It's definitely loud enough to play smaller clubs. When you get into a bigger club, just go XLR out right to the front of house board, and you're going to go through the PA anyway. Especially nowadays, a lot of these places are wanting a silent stage. You got to have your volume down. It's a great little amplifier. And all the Fender, of course, the Fender tones are really good.
Potentially Work says, so you can use them modelers like the Line 6 Stomp with headphones only. My amp does not have a headphone jack, and sometimes I wonder if the neighbors will call the cops.
Now, the GTX, I didn't see a headphone out on it. Now, you do have XLR out, okay? So if you have a small board, like a mixing board, it doesn't take much. Even these little 4-channel Mackie boards that you can get for $199, plug it into that and come out of the headphone jack. I didn't see a headphone jack on it. So another thing you could do is go out of the USB to your computer. And then if you have computer speakers, you could play it through the computer speakers, or your headphones plugged into the computer. Most people playing music have some type of mixing board, okay? And that's how I have it wired tonight. Instead of using the USB, we're going out XLR to the wing rack. And the wing rack nor the Egnator have any post-processing. So when I'm playing the Egnator, all you're hearing is reverb and that preamplifier. The Egnator reverb actually has like a delay kind of sound to it. You've got this density knob, and if you turn that knob up, it not only kind of sounds like a reverb, but it'll get that reverb delay sound. It's actually kind of scary. It's like, listen to it. This is just reverb, and it's quite scary. Let me make sure I'm plugged into the right amp here. I think I am. And I have to turn off these mics so you get a good representation of the amplifier. Now, this is just reverb and a preamplifier. That's it. That is literally just reverb and a preamplifier that's been overdriven on the gain stage just a little bit.
Wicked Fester
That's
said
it.
modelers also don't need to be loud to sound good.
Believe it or not, I'll play the Egnator, and this amplifier, I didn't have another. I wanted to, if you look right there, my decibel meter isn't plugged in. But believe it or not, this amplifier is not that loud in the room. So I'm going to leave these microphones on, and I'm going to unmute the Egnator. Well, actually, we won't. So the mics at the Egnator are not on. What you're going to hear is the Egnator through this microphone and this microphone. And you can hear how it changes. Now, normally when I mic an amplifier, I like a mic, about 3 foot away for the room sound. What you're hearing on the Egnator tonight is one 57 and one SA microphone. That's it on the cabinet. So there's no offset microphone back from the room. So I'll turn these mics off. That's a good tone, guys. I mean, that Egnator's got a heck of a sound. It really does. That's why I'm battling things. Like we're trying to make the channel better, and I'm always chasing sound. Okay, at some point I kind of look around and go, okay, I'm good on this. I really am. It's like guitars. Now I've got a lot of super strats. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to buy instruments that have different sounds, okay? That will really give me a different sound. This Telecaster, it gives me a different sound. My Nashville Strat, it gives me a different sound. So my set neck Telecaster, my FMT, that gives me a different sound. And I'm not saying all my super strats sound the same. They don't. But they make me play a certain way. So what I'm doing now, like my Epiphone Dot hollow body, when I play that, I play differently. Okay, I'm at the point now. The instrument needs to speak to me. Okay, and a good guitar, okay, if it makes you play and something else comes out of you. Like everyone knows, I'm a hair guitar player. I am not a country guitar player, and I'm definitely not the guitar player that you're hearing tonight. That's not my style. It's not my tone. It's not my way of playing. But when I play an instrument, and I automatically start writing something that's outside my box, that tells me right there, hey, this is a good instrument for me. And it's not that it's forcing me, it's making me creative. I'm being creative with that instrument. Okay. And if I can be creative outside my little comfort zone and I start going outside that box, that's just going to make me a better guitar player. It will. It's going to make you a better guitar player. So now when I go to the music store and I pick up a guitar, I want to see what comes out of me. What does it make me play? Do I sound like Avery, the same guy that's been playing for X amount of years? Or is it making me play and do things that I normally don't do? Um, I think that's the sign of a good guitar. And you guys can tell me what you think about that. And we're not going to go down the road. Everyone has a certain style of playing, okay? So when you go outside that box, of course that style goes with you, okay? Even though I'm playing that style, you can still hear my hair band, grunge heritage. It's going to be hard for me to ever learn to play and not let someone that doesn't know me go, yeah, I used to play hair guitar, maybe some grunge, STP, stuff like that. It comes out in my playing, the way I chord, the way I see scales. Even though I don't really play scales, you guys don't see me play scales. That's not how I was taught to play guitar. Okay. If you're a scale player and you've gotten fast doing scales, that's fine. I think that you can take all this stuff and you piece it all together and eventually you put your spin on it. I think it's awesome. I was just never that kind of guitar player, if that makes sense. So when you guys hear me playing and you're kind of like, well, that's different. I've never thought about this or that. It's just how I learned. So I learned to make those notes work with how I play. And I think we see that in a lot of guitar players, but a lot of times these guitar players are so good, we don't even realize that they're not doing something conventional. When I say that, Zakk Wylde, he's really not a conventional guitar player. Randy Rhoads, he was not really a conventional guitar player. These guys really thought outside the box and applied things that were different than what everyone was kind of used to hearing, if that made sense. And that's what made them unique. And I think if you look at Eddie Van Halen, I think that's what made him unique. He had a weird way of holding the pick. He had a weird way of doing hammer-ons, whether it was pulling up or pushing. He did both. He would push down the string and then pull up on the string. His pick attack, that gave him a sound. What is it? The guy from, I just said his name, George Lynch. If you watch George Lynch's playing, the way he picks and attacks the strings, he's got a really unique approach. But that gives him that sound. When you listen to Pink Floyd, I mean, you immediately know it's Pink Floyd because they had a sound. And I think that's what takes the artist to the next level. When you listen to them and you go, huh, yeah, that's Zakk Wylde. Oh, that's Eddie Van Halen. Oh, that's Yngwie Malmsteen. You may not necessarily love that artist, okay? We'll put Satriani and Vai and all these other guys, right in the exact same. Usually, within a measure or two, you can go, I know this artist. Why? Why do we automatically go, yeah, this is this person? It's more than just a sound. It's how they play. Every guitar player has a little sequence or something that is kind of like underlining in their guitar playing. You can hear it in me. I have certain things that I always default back to, especially if I get lost. And I think these other artists do the exact same thing. When you start looking at their music, it's a style, whether it's 3 notes per string, 4 notes per string, or 3, 4, 3, 4, or it's 3-4 time for 12 measures, and then they switch. They're doing it because for them that's comfortable. But when we hear it, it's like, hey, that's unique. How'd they do that? But for them, it just comes out of them. I think Stevie Ray Vaughan was the exact same way. He was just a field player, and that man could rock, and he was so good, he didn't even have to think. It just come out of him. And I think when we get to that level, okay, whether it's a song and you're just playing it and it becomes just something you're not even thinking about, you pick the thing up and you just jam through it. I think that really, people can hear it. If you're sitting there and you're over analyzing your playing, I think one, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, okay? And two, I don't think you're going to enjoy it. This is music. You guys, I come on here, I've been on YouTube now for a little over 3 years, and I used to be so self-conscious of how I sounded because I didn't want someone to rub me the wrong way and come on and say, well, you suck, or you do this, or you do that. And I've been pretty fortunate. No one's really done that to me. And it has nothing to do with me sucking. It has to do with, I think, I have been open and honest and say, this is where I'm at. I used to play. I've gotten back into music. And this is my journey, I guess, coming out of the dark ages. We'll say that. Analog everything and rack mount tube amplifiers. So going to a full digital wing rack when I ran a Mackie analog board, and then going to a full digital amplifier after running a rack amplifier for 30 years, that really takes a person out of their comfort zone and puts them where they've never been. And you guys have seen my struggles. This stream has not always been smooth flowing. We've had popping, we've got cracking, we've had camera issues, all these little things that I hope that I've gotten better at. Now, we still have camera problems, but we're going to work on it. What was that, hon?
Oh, nothing.
Nothing?
Nope.
I heard the jiggling or giggling, so it had to be something going on.
Nothing.
Just for that, I'm going to open up the chat and see what was going on.
It's not in the chat.
Oh my. There's a secondary chat that no one can see, just so everyone knows. There's a moderator Discord room, and the moderators can go to that room and discuss things without necessarily the main chat seeing. So I never go back because there's times, guys, where I just don't want to know what's said in that room. It's like, okay, they have their own little party going on over there, guys. We should be, hey, I'm with you all. They don't let me in on the joke either. So I think most of the time, I think I'm the person they're joking on. But I see we really are doing well tonight. If you're not familiar with the channel, guys, please go to the main hub and check us out. We're a guitar review channel and not like a regular YouTube channel. Just watch one of the reviews and you'll instantly see we do highly detailed reviews here. We try to be the best review channel on YouTube, and it's no BS. I just review the guitar and tell you what's there in front of me. Every Thursday we do, or every other Thursday, we have a luthier and a guitar tech come in that works at Shenandoah Music, and we just go over setting up guitars and stuff like that. So that's every other Thursday, and then a review every Thursday, and then Saturday night, which you guys are here tonight, we just hang out and talk gear. And I want everyone to understand that this, if you have an opinion, I mean, there may be people that disagree with you, but we're not here to argue about what's the best. I think if you have a Line 6 Stomp, I think you can make it sound good, okay? If you have a GTX 100, I think you can program it and make it sound good. If you've got an Amplified Nation amp and a VP4, you can make it sound good. The trick to it is how can we make our equipment sound the best we can make it sound? And sometimes that journey isn't just us rattling through it. Someone in that chat that you guys see has that equipment. And maybe they've had that exact same struggle, and you can post that question in there and someone might point you in the right direction. Lord only knows our Discord page has helped me out tremendously programming the Line 6 Stomp in my journey from analog and tubes over to digital. Now, I guess everyone wants to know, what do I feel is better? I like playing my tube amps. I think nothing sounds like a tube amp cranked up. And why do I feel that? Something to do with the speakers and moving the air. When the air moves in the room and the air compresses in the room from the loud volume, it seems to be different. And I have Wolfdale control room monitors. They are 15-inch drivers with dual compression horns. Believe me, they're freaking loud. I can run my modeler through my crown amplifier into my wing rack, and it can be louder than my guitar amp. But there's a difference. It doesn't break up and move the air like the 412 cabinet, okay? I think it sounds great. And there's times where I like the modeler better. It is more controllable, and I like a clean floor. The last thing, if you guys watch me, I watch these other guitar players, and they've got so much gain. What do? They instantly roll that volume back. And I think that's cool to train yourself to do that. Me, I want that sound, but I want it controllable. I don't want to have to turn my volume back. Now, this is not stupid gain, but I'm not rolling my volume back. Okay, and you guys have heard me run my Friedman over here at stupid gain levels, but I'm still able to get that Friedman under control to where it's just not screaming its head off and it's so uncontrollable. And I think there's a time for that. If you're doing a lot of whammy tricks and you're trying to get a shit ton of sustain and all these hammer-ons, when the amplifier is at that edge like that, you can do a lot more with the amplifier or your guitar. The problem is you have to be a very clean playing guitar player. And if you notice, I don't use the little band up here. I don't mute my strings. So when you got an amplifier that loud in the room and that sound is going back into your pickups, the guitar starts resonating. That's why you see these guys running this thing, because they're playing so fast, they're hitting other strings, and that string, it's they're notes that they're not wanting. So you'll see them, they'll push it over the string, and then they push it back, push it over, and that's fine. That's a technique that I've never tried. I always tried to get my amp clean and then try to clean up my playing. But I know there's a reason they do it, and it's a sound that it gives them. And most likely, I'm talking out of my butt here, you're not going to get that sound unless you learn that trick and you do that. Me, I know I can't do it. Why? I've never tried it. But when I'm playing sometimes and I hear these other notes ringing out and I'm not even playing there, and it's just the room volume and my sloppy playing, I'm like, you know what? I bet you if I had one of those up here, my guitar sound would be better because it's muting the strings that I'm not playing. Is it cheating? I don't know. A lot of people do it. So you guys can tell me, do you think that's cheating? I'm not I'm not really too sure if it's cheating or not. I think it's a style, and I think once you master it, I think it's fine. It's just like the first time you start doing hammer-ons. Okay, you're hitting that string above it, and the string below where you're playing is doing funny things. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm horrible at this. You're going to get it. You're going to be able to roll your pointer finger over the string to mute the string underneath, and then the finger that's doing your first hammer on will be muting the upper string, and then you're muting with your palm at the same time. Eventually, you're going to get it clean, and you're going to realize, hey, I just need to mute these strings. Find a way of muting it with your fingers or your palm, or tuck your pick. And I've been told multiple times that I don't have the right pick angle, and I don't pick the guitar properly. This is what I do. I don't pick this way, guys. And if you do, great. If you're using your pointer finger and your thumb to pick, that's fine. I don't. I haven't done that in 30 years. I pick with this finger open. That's just how I do. That's how I do it. Let me mute the mics, and I'm gonna sit back just a little bit. Let me try to move the. Wow, it's all crooked now. Sorry. uh, let, let, let me mute these, and you guys can, if you're new, you can watch my picking technique. I can tuck the pick and go to the hammer on and not have a problem and then come back out of it. Can you do that and learn it in a day? If you're really good, you probably can. But I don't think it would take you too long if it's something that you want to learn to tuck your pick like that and then push it back out to your pick position. It's just how I learned. You know, I don't think one way is necessarily better than the other. I think each way you do it gives you a sound. I'm sure if you polled every professional guitar player, pick angle, rotating the pick, you're probably going to get a bunch of different answers, you know, depending on the style that they play at and the type of music they play. I'm sure someone playing jazz doesn't necessarily hold their pick the same way someone playing classic rock does, or vice versa. Name a type of music, a country player versus a jazz player. Their technique, their chording, just even if you break it down to something simple, how they approach scales and leads is going to be completely different. You know, country versus jazz versus blues versus, you know, jazz and blues. Yeah, there might be some cross path there. And I think this new modern country, I'll be honest with you, man, some of these new modern country heavy bands, they're getting pretty stupid sounding. Um, there's a couple of these new, I guess you'll call it metal country with banjos and highly distorted guitars. I'll be honest with you, dude. It's to me, it sounds freaking cool as heck. Um, it's not country and it's not rock. I don't really know what you call it, but I'm digging the sound. And there's several bands out there right now, kind of making a go playing this style of music. Um, I'm really getting into it. I don't know what you guys think about it. All right, guys, we are at the 1 hour mark. Do you know what that means? It's Vox time. That's if you're new here, we always take a break. We take a break at the 1 hour mark. That allows everyone to hit the restroom, okay? Get something to drink and get a snack. So we normally stream for about 2 hours, and that's what we're shooting for tonight. And we could go longer. I'm not going to say that we're not, because some nights we go 3 hours. But we always do 2 hours, and at the 1 hour mark, we always try to take our break. So if you would, if you want to leave, go out, leave us a comment in the main page on YouTube, or if you're on Facebook, leave a comment in the little comment down below. If you want to contribute, okay, or if you want to be on the show, please reach out to us on Discord. If someone, I think Ben has the YouTube address, and I think Linnell does. If someone wants to post the Discord address over on Facebook, that would be great on the live stream there. And then also post it in the chat here. And let's get some more people over to Discord. All right, guys, we're going to take a little break. And we'll be back in about 8 minutes. So I'm going to hit the break scene here. And I want to thank everyone for watching tonight. Don't forget to go down, hit the like button, and consider subscribing. And we'll see you in about 8 minutes. Okay, everybody, I have Linnell's mic muted simply due to the Cocoa machine. So if you're a regular here, you'll understand that that thing is it has gotten quite slow in its old age. So we have another amplifier, guys, to see if you guys can guess which one this one is. Let me see here. Do we have audio to that amp? And it says we do. So let me make sure we are on the right channel. You know, I like this system. It's quite cool, but getting everything up and running. Ooh, boy, she's cranking. Let me turn that down. She's still cranking. Okay. I guess you kind of instantly know that it no, you know it's not the Egnator. Now the rack amp, just the right here, it is going through the HX pulse pedal. So it's kind of hybridized tonight, just so you guys know. And the IR we're using come from Steve. So it is a 4 greenback Celestion IR capture that we're using on the rack. So here's the sound. I'll cut that back a little bit more. So what do you guys think that is? Now we have 4, well actually, technically I did some changing during the break to really throw you guys off. We have 5 amplifiers in the room. We have a Yamaha THR-10, and that would be coming out of the headphone jack directly to the wing rack. We also have a Line 6 HX Stomp. We have the rack amp running through a HX pulse pedal for a cab IR, which is 4 greenback Celestions, a Fender GTX 100, and an Egnator. So, what's that, hon? Oh, I have to unmute your mic, hon, because I muted it due to the coffee maker. There you go. There you go.
Devastator said Stomp. Brad said Soldano. How you say that? Soldano?
Sedano. I like my Sedano.
And then you have a question.
Well, just so you guys know, I gave it away. When I adjusted the output, you saw me reach over. And if you watch the channel enough, you know right between the two models, the 2 monitors is my HX Stomp. So this is the HX Stomp. And that's how I kind of know I've got a good sound on my HX Stomp. When I can run my Egnator and all the other amplifiers, and you guys are having trouble distinguishing one from another, that's telling me it must be pretty good. I'm not saying it's perfect, but but it must be pretty good.
Art and Guitar says, I've seen some guitar players slap the guitar strings like they would a bass. Do you have any tips for slap guitar?
No, but someone that did surprise though, you know what out of me at doing that is Philip McKnight. Now I know technically he is a bass player. I forget, it was about a year ago. He was doing something, and I don't know. I'm not like a member of his channel, so I don't get to watch like the special things. So it was something that he just posted, and he was doing, that is crazy talent, because the strings are so much closer on a six string than they are on a bass. And I saw that man do that, and I was kind of like, wow. You know, he's a quite talented bass player, and I'll say that he's a pretty good guitar player too. There's nothing wrong with his guitar playing.
What model on the HX Stomp?
Okay, if you guys want to see the Stomp settings.
And after you do that, Kurt wants to hear the Friedman BE.
He wants to hear the Friedman BE. I can do that, but I didn't actually test it. So that kind of lets the cat out of the bag. It is hooked up, but I did not have the opportunity to test it and dial anything in, but I will try it. And you guys can see it's on channel 99, and I haven't changed any of the settings over there, so I don't know if it's even anywhere near the proper outputs, but we'll visit that in a couple minutes. You can guys can kind of get an idea of what goes on. Let me show you guys the display screen. So this is our HX Stomp software that's on the computer. And you can see that right here, I have demo high gain 2. So this is my second high gain setting. And we'll start right with the main left right. And this is the settings on that, if anyone's interested in copying my settings. And this setup is designed to go directly into a mixing console, into powered PA speakers. So that's our first main left right. So this is a red squeeze. I'm not going to say it's kind of like a BBE, but it's not. It's adding some harmonic, making it a little nicer sounding. So sensitivity. Over here is the settings that you guys can look at if you're wanting to copy this setting. Level, mix. Here's our boost pedal, and we're using, and you can see the one that's highlighted right here. So that's telling you what I'm using. It's this one right here. And here's the settings. It's basically 2 gain stages. And over here you can see it's got overdrive, boost, distortion, normal, higher, whether I have it set to 9 volt or 18 volt. Okay. So that's our boost pedal. This is the amplifier. This is a Rev Gen Red amplifier. Here's the settings on the amplifier. Like I said, here's all your numbers. And you'll be able to go back over the stream. You can pause this.
What is the bass amp on this patch?
The bass amp. I have not used any bass amps in the Line 6. I don't know which bass amps are in there. I didn't know there were any, to be honest with you. So, but this is the Rev. I'm assuming GEN is or Rev Gen, Gen Red.
Brad said Rev, cool.
Yeah. Then here's our delay. So these are the settings on the delay for the sound that you guys just heard. And this, like I said, everything's right here if you guys want to copy it. You can go back on the stream if you have a Line 6 Stomp, and you can copy these out. And then, believe it or not, even though I do not have a wah pedal, when you put this thing in the chain, it changes the way the chain sounds. This is what I was saying about learning how to manipulate what you have. I don't want to use a wah. That's not the point in putting the wah in it. It's what it does to the signal is what I like. So let me go back to the thing. We're not using it as a wah. It is in the effects chain. And if I turn it off, it instantly changes the sound. Okay. So yes, there is a wah effect in this, but there's no controller for it. And then here's our main out. And those settings will give you this sound. You know, I've been practicing that and I've got the resolve, but the resolve is so kooky, I can never play it. That's the resolve. I just need to practice it and get it. It's a really, I think it's a good sound. It's the best sound that I've been able to get out of the HX Stomp as of right now. And I'm still learning. It seems to be quite capable. And I knew it was. Guys, my whole struggle with this, you know, I hate when people say, oh, this is a piece of junk and that's a piece of junk. If there's a lot of people out there playing something and they're using it out live, they've made it work. Okay. Whether they're on a budget, okay, or it's just small and they don't want to carry a bunch of stuff. You know, the Line 6 Stomp is small, it's compact, and it does a lot. So how I would use this thing out live is I'd come out of the headphone jack to a powered PA speaker, and that would be my amp on the stage so I could hear myself. And I'd go out of the mains right to front of house. That's it. Real simple. I mean, yeah, that's easy. You can fit that in a smart car. You could. You got your guitar, your Line 6 Stomp, and one powered PA speaker. And I would get a nice one, something with a 15-inch driver and a horn. Doesn't have to be loud. The 15-inch driver just will allow you to do more. It's not like a guitar cabinet driver. It's full range. That 15-inch driver will just cover more and give it a little bit better sound for you on the stage. The audience isn't going to hear it because they're going to be hearing the PA, if that makes sense. And if you've got a microphone and a headset, you can go out of the headphone jack to your transmitter to your in-ear if you want to do it that way. You don't even need the PA speaker up there. You don't, especially in today's world with in-ears. You could do that. There's so many things that you could do. It's small, it's compact, it's easy. I mean, to get that sound. Why would I mean, I love my tube rack amp, but why am I going to carry this monstrosity into a smaller bar? Why am I going to do it? I mean, literally, I could put that Line 6 Stomp in my guitar case, put my guitar in the case, put my cable in the case, put my strap in the case. I got my case, grab the handle on my little powered PA speaker. I'm ready to go gigging. And I'm not going to kill my back in the process. The more I experiment with this stuff, the more I get it. I do. Do I like one better than the other? the more I play with this stuff, the more I'm really going, hey, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Well, does that mean I'm going to get rid of my tube amps? I love my tube amp, so I'm going to keep it. But if I'm going out playing and in places that I would be playing in, you know, that would be all I would ever need. Okay, I'm not a semi-pro musician. I'm not playing in front of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people. And even if I was, that's even more of a reason to take the HX Stomp, because I'm going from this venue to the next venue. I mean, literally, I could put all that in my guitar case and one little speaker cabinet and and I'm set. I mean, again, everyone knows me, and your opinion changes. And if someone's out there saying, oh, I believe this and that's just how it is, did you think that 20 years ago? If someone has an opinion on something, it's because for whatever reason, whatever product they're using, they've made it work. And like I'll say it again, whether it was a size problem, restraint, you could only have X amount of equipment to fit in your automobile, or it's a budget restraint. An HX Stomp and an FRL cabinet or a powered PA driver is far cheaper than going out and buying an amplified Nation head and a 4-speaker cabinet, or buying a Friedman head and 4-speaker cabinet, and you still don't have your effects. Well, let's go even simpler. Let's say you go with a little mini head, okay? Even a Synergy mini head, that the little 20-watt mini head, or it's either 20 or 30 watt. You get a cabinet for that, and then you can go front of house with the IR. It's still big. It's a lot more money. It's a lot more money. The little HX Stomp, I think, is like $700 now. That's your rig. Have some extra cables. You maybe get you a backup guitar. Have 2 guitars in that. You're still way below having that Friedman. And is that Friedman going to give you your other sounds? I think a Friedman's a pretty universal amp. Maybe the Sedano would be better to get cleaner sounds and then more high gain type sounds. But with the Stomp, you can model things out. You can get close to that Sedano sound, close to that, Rev sound, or the old Marshall sound. I think the sound, I was talking to the guy today. Well, I think his name was, I won't mention his name because I didn't say I'd talk about it on YouTube. But the gentleman that bought the pedal today, and I was talking to him about it, and he was like, it's just for you. It's for you, the artist, to hear. The people in the audience, 99% of them are not going to be able to tell the difference between a well-programmed HX Stomp and the real thing. They're not, especially if you have a good sound guy, and if you don't, and you're doing multiple tasks like I did when I was in my band, I was the rhythm guitar player most of the time, and also the sound guy. So I had to run back and forth. That was the main reason I bought my first wireless, because I had to play the guitar and then go make adjustments on the board. And there for a long time, we tried to keep the board to the right-hand part of the stage, and then I would walk back, make a change, and then we started putting in the back when we got a snake, and I had to walk through the tables all the way to the back of the bar and play, make quick adjustments, and I did that for the first 3 or 4 songs until it got stable. And then hopefully, it was okay. If not, I had to jump, run down. You're playing smaller places that, it was only maybe 100 foot away, but a lot could happen in that 100 foot. But you made do. We were playing larger places, needing bigger equipment, more channels, but we wasn't making enough money to pay someone to sit back there and run the board. And then when we did, then you needed bigger amplifiers. And then you started playing bigger places, and it just compounded, if that made sense. Then you needed to, change your bass bends, because now your bass bends didn't cut it. Now your horns wasn't cutting it. Array drivers wasn't a big thing back then. You had sub bends, bass bends, mid bends, horns. The array thing, smaller bands couldn't afford an array. You know, they were out there, but that was for big places. No one had a 3-driver array on each side with the sub bins. If you had that, you were making bank each weekend, and you had to play and you had to make money. It was tough. That's why I'm saying nowadays this HX Stomp, and as long as you're playing a place that's set up for it, I think you really can't lose. And if you're not an HX Stomp guy, that I'm qualifying it because that's what I have. If you're running a quad Cortex, fine. If you're running a small Kemper device, fine. You're running, what's that new Tonex, and you got something behind it. I think this qualifies to anything that you can fit on your pedal board. And if you want to go down the rabbit hole of, I had an Imperial, preamp pedal, or the Friedman preamp pedal, and you've got a small HX Stomp next to it or a Cortex next to it for your effects, and then you're going out that way, and then some people have added a little Seymour Duncan amplifier to, get a driver on the stage. They're trying to stay small, okay? That's what they're trying to do. But if you're on a budget and you need one device, I think a quad Cortex, an HX Stomp, and these things have gotten stupid good. So I don't know, it was last stream someone asked about the Tonex. I've never played through a Tonex, but I know a lot of people have them. And a lot of people swear by them. So I think you have to do you. You find a piece of equipment that will get the sound that's pleasing to your ear. Whether that's a Line 6 product, well, we'll put Line 6 Yamaha under the same umbrella because it's the same company. A quad Cortex, or, some other type of modeler, or small tube preamp pedal going into an effects pedal. That's your journey. And it's all based on how much money you're willing to spend. The gentleman today, he got a good deal on that black. We did a review on it. It's something I didn't use. I mean, come on. If that's going to be his rig, you could use it as a rig. I don't think it would fit me, but you could come right out of that thing to a powered PA speaker and go front of house with it. And it's like $180. That's your amplifier. It has amp models in it. It has everything to do basic stuff. Could you get a good sound out of it? If you played with it, I guarantee you could get 3 tones out of it. You could get a clean, a crunch, and a distortion tone out of it. Just tinker with it. Don't get frustrated. Don't give up. It's capable of a good sound. It's a very inexpensive unit, but you could get by with it. So you're at $180 for that. You spend $300 on a good powered PA speaker. There's your guitar amp. And now you've got effects. You got a couple different amp models. You go somewhere, these powered PA speakers are freaking loud. Most of them are 500, 600, 700 watts. So even if you're playing a big place and they don't have front of house, it's going to be louder than most conventional guitar amps. It's quite loud. Is a 500 watt powered PA speaker as loud as a 120 watt full stack? Probably not. Tube power is much different, but it's still going to be freaking loud. So I think we can buy budget stuff. Exact same thing with budget guitars. That Leo James we ordered for or reviewed for Trucker Bob a couple months ago, that guitar was not horrible. It wasn't. It's a $220 guitar. You can take that guitar with a little bit of work, a black Line 6, Express, and a powered PA speaker. You would be under $700 for your whole rig.
You got a super chat from Niles.
Oh, thank you so much, Sean. Niles, that's really what funds the channel, guys. We're trying to get better. And I've been doing this long enough to where I'm trying to get YouTube to start paying for the upgrades, if that makes sense. I have one more payment left on the wing rack. It was quite a substantial purchase, but I really need to get to the point where YouTube can pay to at least do the stream. So our next purchase is most likely going to be cameras, or since now we're doing Tech Talk with Brian, shout out if Brian's watching, we might do some lapel microphones. I don't know which one we're going to do first, but I think the lapel microphones would really help. And I think these are cool. I like the microphone in front of my face like that. I think it adds a lot to the stream, not just visually, but it makes me conscious of where the microphone is, if that makes sense. I think I think it looks cool, and I feel that it adds something to it having the microphones. It's very traditional. I'm a traditional person, but the lapel mic would just be easier. If you watch the last Tech Talk with Brian, this mic was kind of hiding the guitar sometimes. And in that case, the lapel mic would be perfect. So we've been thinking about getting 2 lapel mics for Brian and myself when we're doing that. That way we don't have these, messing up the view when we're talking about guitars. So it would be nice if YouTube got to the point where it could at least do that.
You got a super chat from Devastator, then you got another one from Niles. They're competing for the crown.
They're competing for the crown. I like the crown. I never get the crown though. I don't know how to give myself a super chat. That would be funny. I'm gonna beat all of you. Clank. I would just end up losing 30% of my own money from YouTube. But if you guys disagree with me with what I'm saying, that's fine. Just post your thoughts in the comment section. If I'm off base, and you're watching at a later date, put a comment down below. Tell me why you feel that I'm off base on what I'm talking about here. These pedals and going out and playing. Believe me, I carried this amplifier around when I was playing professionally. And at the time I didn't go, wow, this is a pain in the butt. Why? Because that's what you did. You had your amp, you had your guitar, you had effects, you had to hook up the PA and, stack cabinets, and you had a big moving truck. We had a big box truck. We put everything in, and that was just part of it. There wasn't what there is now, but now there are these type devices. Doing it now it's a different ball game. It really is. And that's why I want you to post down below if there's an even simpler way, or there's something that I'm missing, advantages and disadvantages. And remember, I am right now under the impression that the sound on the stage is just pretty much for you. It really is. And I do agree with that. I can go back and watch my streams and go, wow, that really sounds good. And I can remember that stream, and there was something wrong with the sound that night, and it affected the way I played, because in my ears, it wasn't moving me to play. But to listen to it a month or 2 months later, I'm like, well, that sounded fine. But I remember the night.
Super chat from Steve. He said for the strings.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. I got a lot of work to do tomorrow. Good. It's a 3-day weekend, Steve, so it shouldn't be a problem. We're so far behind on stuff, guys. Tonight tomorrow we're going to get Steve's guitar back out to him. And it's been tough. This really the last 2 months, it's been tough. And I'm not going to complain, because I know right now work across the nation has been tough. So the last thing you want to do is complain when you have work. But I have work, and it's been hard on us. And then I had that tooth problem, if you guys know, and I went to the doctor, and they wanted everything up front after they said they were going to make payments. So then I ended up losing a day of work, and I still didn't get my tooth fixed. So that's why I keep, it hurts right now. And we're just going to have to save the money to get my tooth fixed. It's just one of those things. It seems like that's what life does. But as long as the water heater and the furnace doesn't blow up at the same time, and I have to have my tooth fixed at the same time, we're gonna manage. Oh, oh, we're gonna plug in a different guitar though, guys. I've been playing this guitar quite a bit, so I want to plug in the Ibanhad. I was playing Linnell's Jackson the other day, and I think I played it on the stream. I love that guitar, that crackle guitar. That thing is like stupid good. Wow, it's a little out of tune. And you can instantly hear this is humbuckers, so it has a lot more push than the single coil. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit.
Don't forget, Kurt wants to hear the Friedman.
Ooh, okay. Actually, we can try that. Let me see what I have to do to get the Friedman up and running. I had it all plugged in. I just ran out of time. To give you guys an idea of the spaghetti soup, that is the speakers. If you look right here, we got the egnator running through. We're running the top speaker on the egnator plus the left-hand side or right-hand side of the Penta cabinet. So that's what we're doing there. So let me switch cameras here, and I want to show you something. Oh, that's that camera. Oh, I was on the right camera. I got it facing the wrong direction, guys. So let me spin this camera around. I want you guys to get an idea of the wing.
And Steve wants to hear the SG through the Friedman.
The SG's downstairs. It's not in the case. So I have my patch bay hooked in. So everything that you see tonight, here's the pulse pedal that's going in, and then everything comes from the back of this back into the bed. So all the microphones in the room that are on amplifiers are going into this patch bay, other than the Yamaha, which is up here. We look all the way up. There's a Yamaha up there. That's going direct into the back. And then over here, my line 6 stomp. So normally I don't like doing too much. It should be P16 and P15. Let me see where the settings are. I can hear people clicking off now. It's got a little bit of gain on it. Have to make it go to the main sections as well. This one's at -1. This one's -1.3. All right, let me go get a cable and plug into it. I see lights on the art. And I see output on here as well. Let me double check the output. That's on 10, so that would be why the output is different. Okay. So this is the Friedman. And I haven't, this is literally just plug it in and let me see which IR I'm on. Yep. So this is the Friedman without tweaking anything. So I need more input. Hold on.
Is that the BE?
Is that the what?
The Friedman BE.
Yes, this is the Friedman BE.
Okay.
And I can't tell you where the settings are as far as gains and stuff. I'm pretty sure this is the high gain version. Now, what I'm hearing, I have too much phase and chorus in the art, so I would cut that back. So let me cut that back a little bit, the wet dry mix. So normally what I do is I keep my headphones on and I'll go over and sit next to the amp and I'll tweak the amp, but I'm guessing on this.
Kurt says that sounds good.
That helped. Let me check the out here. So we're at 0 and 0. Punch it up just a little bit. You can hear the Friedman is just, it's freaking mean sounding. It has so much more just in your face distortion.
Kurt said for a mini head, that sounds great.
It's not the mini head.
That's what Kurt wants to hear, apparently.
Oh, I don't have the. That's the rack amp. the mini head is sitting right there. That's the one I did not hook up, guys. I mean, it would take me about 5 or 10 minutes. I could get it hooked up. I could run out and come in. Yeah. I don't have any effects for it, so I would have to do maybe like my little new X, wherever it is, like my little new X. I've got an edge pedal for delay. I could use that. I mean, I could use some wing rack effects. I could come out of the BE to the new X Pulse cabinet simulator, and I could use wing rack post effects, but it would take me a little bit to do that.
Was that the Synergy into the Pro Valve?
This is what you're hearing right now is the Synergy Friedman BEDLX preamp, okay, and that is pushing the ART. Now, this setting on the ART is not the tube. I am running it into the solid state preamplifier on the ART and all the effects. And then the effects loop is also running down into the silver unit, which has 3 12AX7s. That's warming up the digital effects. The other effects loop is running into the 362 BBE, and it gives you this sound. It's quite mean.
Kurt,
Yeah.
Kurt said, Avery, that's cheating. Hook it up for the next stream.
The little baby amplifier?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought everyone wanted to hear the big Friedman. Someday I'm going to learn how to play this darn thing. I misfritted the whole thing down here. Oh, doing live, guys, it will either embarrass the you-know-what out of you or hopefully make you better. So I don't know where I'm at right now. I'm probably a little embarrassed. That's okay. If you play this thing, you're gonna make mistakes, and that's what If you're just tuning in, you don't know the channel. We do live reviews. There's no editing, so we start the review, and the demo and everything is just right off the cuff, from everything from checking the fit and finish to the intonation to demoing the guitar. All the mistakes, all the outtakes, all the things that everyone cuts out, that's there. So if you want an honest review and you really want to know, come check out some of our live reviews. It doesn't get as upfront and as honest as checking out an instrument live all the way through. And am I going to sit here and tell you it's a 15-minute review? No, it's usually 2.5 hours. But we look at the electronics, we look at the fit and finish, we look at how the factory setup was. We really do a detailed look. We weigh the guitar, we check the pickup readings. You know, I think we do the best reviews on YouTube. And then, of course, I make mistakes in the demo. So you get to hear the guitar. And that's where we're at right now. We made so many changes amplifier wise, but we're kind of sticking to our guns as far as our setup. And the more we do it, everyone will kind of get a base for what it sounds like. Like now you hear this guitar through that amplifier, what this guitar does. So, point in doing reviews, when you set one guitar down and you pick another one up, the amplifier is instantly going to sound completely different. So that one's plugged into the HX.
Don't know if it's the same one, but the Synergy platform, they came out with the JCM 800 preamp module.
I want the Marshall. I really do. And from what I'm understanding, a lot of people like it more than the full-size head. And the reason for that is if you look at the little IR head Synergy makes, the small one, the clean channel on that thing is stupid good. So you've got two channels on the Marshall. You use the Synergy, I think it's the IR20. Use that on your clean. One of the settings on the Marshall for your dirt, and then a really dirty channel. From what I'm understanding, people like it way better than the actual Marshall head, and it's like half the cost. You can get the Marshall module and that little head, and that head also has IRs built into it. So you don't even need a cabinet. You can just put the head on and come out right to your mixing console, and you can load IRs to it. It's actually pretty stupid. I want to get one. I really do. I think for what I'm doing, and eliminating the cabinet in the room, that would be perfect because it has an effects loop. I could get that and a VP4, and I'll have a real tube amp with modern effects right into the wing rack. Now I could also use my Line 6 Stomp as my effects, so I could get that, still run my Friedman, my Sedano, and get the Marshall module and have that with my IR, and then run the Line 6 Stomp in the effects loop for my effects. Man, that would be stupid nice. It's essentially the same thing I'm doing here. I mean, that's why I don't think about it too much, because if I want to do it, I have really nice rack equipment, and I can use that with the IR that I have right here. Let me switch cameras. So if you look right here, this is that little new X Pulse pedal. So this is an IR pedal. So I'm coming right out, into this for my cab simulation, and then right into the wing rack input.
Kurt said you own the best Synergy module, the Sedano.
Well, I have the old one. Okay, the new one is a little better than mine. The issue that the one that I have is it only has one EQ. The new SLO module, you have your input and your gain, and you have low, mid, and high on both channels. The one that I have, if you look, it only has low, mid, and high, and it's a shared EQ for both channels. I bought it, and about a year later, they come out with the newer one. So if you're going to buy one, get the new one. And if that doesn't bug you, you can get one of these dirt cheap, because everyone kind of wanted to sell this one to get the new one. That way they can, and it just makes sense, because if you buy the pedal and you switch from because it's a 2-channel module, if you want to change your EQ, you can't. You got to use basically all you can do is change your EQ, not your gain and your input between channels. So it made sense for them to revise it and allow you to make EQ settings. I still like my Sedano module, but the other one would be more user friendly as far as being able to sculpt your sound between channels. Now this SYN2 does not have a clean channel. You know, if they come out with one, I think it would be cool. It should have a built-in preamp that's just for clean, and then your modules give you your other channels. If they did that, that would be a 5-channel amp. Right now, it's a 4-channel amp. So Synergy, if you're listening, do the exact same thing to your rack mount bay module that you did on the IR20. Take the IR20, okay, and stick it in a rack module. That'll give me my IRs, and all I'll need is the rack module. And I can control the 4, well, it would be 5, because it would give me a clean preamp, clean channel on the preamp, then 2 channels on the one bay, 2 channels on the other bay. That would be stupid cool, but they haven't done it. I'm really hoping they step up the rack mount module, add the clean preamp to it, and give us the amp and IR simulation that the other one has. Well, the other one, it has an amp in it, so the rack mount module would have to give us a power amp emulation and a speaker emulation. Now, just switch guitars, so exact same amp, just a different guitar. And I really need to tune this thing. Hold on. So you can hear it has a lot more balls and butt than the Fender. So basically what I did right now, we're using a single coil now on the bridge. Then full humbucker. And I'm trying to get my sounds, guys, to where it works across the board. You know, a lot of times we can get a really good sound, and then we'll plug another guitar into it, and it gets boomy sounding, or the bottom end, or this or that. We review guitars here. So I need to get a set clean and a set dirty and a set high gain that works across the board. And that'll give you guys a little bit better reference on how each guitar sounds. If we go up to the fourth position in this guitar, fifth position, so I'm getting close, okay? I'm not saying that that's perfect or anything else. I'm continuing to try to get the sound to where it works across the board. Yeah, I'm sorry, Kurt. I thought you were talking about the rack amp. No one said BE Mini. I thought it was the BE Deluxe. So that's the rack amp, guys. If you want to make a comment on which amp you thought sounded the best, that's great. I personally, out of all of them, playing the Telecaster through it, and I'm not saying this doesn't mean one's better. I think the Line 6 Stomp had the best Telecaster tone. Second, I'll say the Egnator. Third, I'll say, believe it or not, the GTX 100. And then my least favorite was the rack amp. And only because it still has too much phase in it. And the style that I'm playing in this drop tune, I don't think the phase works too well with the tone. Sorry, I'll cut the stomp off. I don't think the phase that you hear swirling in the background on this amp, I think if I take that out, it would probably be most likely my favorite. But right now it's set up for playing more hair music. And that chorus, that phase chorus sound that you hear isolating in the background isn't working too well with the drop tuning, playing like the, I don't know what style you call that. She's laughing, so I had to switch open the, I am a redhead, yes.
That's Devastator's sister.
Oh, okay. Well, nice. Glad you came in the chat. Now this is just for you. When I was young, my hair was so red. I mean, I looked like Ronald McDonald. And that is not a lie. And guys, don't ask for a baby picture.
Mine wasn't that red. I was more of a strawberry blonde when I was younger.
No, mine was like fire engine red.
Yeah, mine wasn't.
Yeah, it was bad. I looked like Carrot Top mixed with Ronald McDonald. it was not good. Then I guess when I got to be about 10, it was like what she's saying. It was like a strawberry blonde. And by the time I was 13, it was more like a brown blonde with red highlights. And it was like that up until I was in my probably mid-20s. And then the red highlights disappeared. And then it was just like this color, like a blondie, like a blonde brown color. But yeah, I used to, yeah, get out the pics. Yeah, I know. Maybe one day we can do that. Open it up and holy mackerel, you guys would get a charge. Even if I could find pictures of my band days back when my hair was down to my kneecaps. Yeah, I looked like Cousin It with feet. It was pretty bad. I had some hair. When I say I had some hair, I had some hair. But that's just part of it, guys. You know, it was the thing. And yes, it was a partial mullet. When I cut it off, this part here had grown down to about here, but originally it was a full mullet. And then by the time I realized I didn't want it anymore and I let the front grow out, it got to about right here and I kept it all back in a ponytail. It was just long enough to where the front would come out and I had about that much sticking out of the front out of the back part. And then I just got tired of it. And I said, nope, I've had enough. I'm cutting this hair off. And I've had short hair ever since. So just one of those things. I see we got a couple new people. What's Cosmic Unbeans?
Cosmic sunbeams.
Oh, Sunbeams. Okay. I want to thank everybody for coming into the stream tonight. I think, Saturday nights is our chance to kind of do something different and just always talk openly. And hopefully everyone understands what tonight's stream was really about. It was about, there's so many options out there, guys. And don't let the pie in the sky kind of make you feel bad. I think we can take equipment, and if you sit down with your equipment, you can get a good sound out of it. And you don't necessarily need a high-end guitar. You don't necessarily need a high-end amplifier. And we're not talking about just bedroom playing. We're talking about going out and playing. As long as you like it, that's the thing. Pick equipment that gets you where you're comfortable playing and it moves you to play that instrument, and you're golden. And whatever that is, it doesn't matter. If it's moving you to play it, that's what's important. And that's why these two guitars, they move me to play. And this guitar, well, this one here, it's a mid-level guitar. It's not a cheapie, and it's not an expensive one. This guitar here is more on the cheapie side, and it doesn't bother me. The whole purpose in buying this was so I could beat the snot out of it. This one here is the exact same principle. It's not an expensive Telecaster. I can play it, and if I ding it and dent it, I don't care. I want something that I can enjoy that gives me that telly sound, and I really feel this guitar does it. This guitar gives me all my high gain sounds with the stability of a fixed tail bridge. So I have been playing this guitar, and my Schecter Mach 6. Those three is really what I've been playing now for the last month solely. And I can get pretty much everything out of those guitars. That doesn't mean I'm getting rid of my other ones. But right now, these are the guitars that I'm gravitating to. And believe it or not, it's been the Fender and the Schecter mainly. Complete polar opposites. And I find myself, I pick up the Schecter, and it's so different than the Telly. It takes me a couple minutes to go, okay, I got this. And then I set the Schecter down, I pick up the Telly, and again, it's like, okay, different sound, different feel. And that's where I'm at right now. And I just wanted you guys to know this is how I feel about this particular subject right now. If you ask me in a year, I might have a completely different opinion. That's the great thing about music and learning. It's a never-ending journey. I don't care how good you are, you're going to learn. Oh gosh, they're talking about me again, guys. I hear her laughing it out in the kitchen. I want to thank everybody again for coming into the stream. Please go down and hit the thumbs up button. I don't know how many thumbs up we have right now, but we had a lot of people in the stream tonight. And I want to thank each and every one of them for coming in. Hopefully some of them subscribed and saw something here that isn't normally done on YouTube. That's what we try to do. Keep the conversation going. If you love working on guitars and finding deals or want to post a deal that you found, head over to our Discord page. There's all kinds of separate rooms that you can post deals. You can post the guitars you're working on. You can ask questions as far as technical stuff. There's a tremendous amount of people over there with great ideas and great input. So that's a good place to start. If you're looking for an opinion on an amp or just maybe options on pickups.
Go to Discord and go in general.
I need to, now they're telling me I have to go to Discord. So that means someone did an AI photo. These guys are awful. I'm telling you. Go to general, huh? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. They made me a redhead. It wasn't quite that red, but it was close.
That's like fire engine red.
Yeah, well, mine was. I had some fire engine red hair. So let me go over here, and you guys can see. Here's the Photoshop picture of me with red hair. I don't know who did that. Steve did that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. So Discord's a fun place, guys. That's where we go and hang out. There's actually a couple rooms in there where if you have a interface, plug your guitar into the interface, let Discord know what you're using, and you can stream and get on there and play and jam. There's a Kurt's recording room. He gets in there and plays sometimes. We used to do it a lot. At least I used to do it a lot. Spring is here now. So I know Kurt's going to be out in his studio more, so he should be in that room jamming. You could go check Kurt out and what he's doing. And then there's a guitar and maintenance room. There's so many different things over there, so go check that out. And I think that's about it, guys. And if you've been watching on Facebook, thank you so much. Please tell your friends. This is a YouTube channel, but we are expanding to different platforms. Spotify is probably going to be our next spot that we land. But we want to do this for about a month, and then we're going to add something else. So far, it looks like the computer system is handling going to 2 places. So let's see if we can push it a little bit more and get on Spotify and try to get some more people in to watch the stream. Again, we're going to do our 5-minute ending window. That'll let everyone finish up their conversations, and you can post what you'd like to see in the next stream. This coming Thursday, we have Tech Talk, so Brian will be in. Don't really know what we're going to be doing, but it's Tech Talk, so have all your questions as far as fixing a nut, changing tuners, pickups, potentiometers, anything of that nature. That'll be next Thursday night when Brian's here. And then, of course, we'll do our gear chat on Saturday. Hope everyone has a great holiday weekend. Hopefully you're off tomorrow. If you are, relax, spend time with the family, play your guitar, and I'll see everyone Thursday night. Thanks, guys.